There are moments in life when the road seems endless and the soul feels tired. In those moments, success may look like a distant land, untouched, unreachable, and almost mythical. But success is not a destination. It is a silent transformation that occurs inside a heart that refuses to surrender. It is not measured by applause, by spotlight, or by trophies. It is measured by the courage to rise when no one is watching, by the will to heal while still breaking, and by the faith to keep walking even when every cell in your body whispers enough. So often we look at those who've made it and we marvel at their glory, but we forget that behind every shining moment was a series of invisible rules that carved their path. Rules that are not written in any textbook, but etched in pain, in resilience, and in relentless belief. So today, I am not here to tell you to chase success. I am here to invite you to become success. Not through image, but through essence. Not by reaching up, but by rising inward. And for that, there are 5 rules you must follow. 5 invisible laws that silently shape the lives of those who dare to live a life of meaning. Rule 1. Never let the world define you. You were not born to fit in a frame someone else painted. You were born to paint your own sky, with colors no one's ever dared to imagine. But the world, it has this habit of assigning you roles before you even find your voice. It calls you names. It gives you limits. It offers you boxes and expects you to shrink your dreams to fit inside them. When you step into your journey, they'll ask for explanations. They'll demand permission slips. They'll want you to prove why you dare to be different. And if you are not rooted deeply in who you are, you will start seeking approval instead of alignment. You will start doubting your wings because they don't match the birds flying around you. And that's when you lose your power, not because others took it, but because you gave it away trying to please people who were never meant to understand your light. The first rule of success is the boldest. Define yourself before the world does. Because once you hand over your identity to society, you will spend your life chasing applause that was never meant for your soul. You must become fiercely loyal to your own reflection. You must protect your dreams like sacred fire even when others mock the flame for being too small. You are not your failures. You are not your past. You are not their opinions. You are not the echo of someone else's fears. You are the thunder after the storm. You are the quiet miracle unfolding in chaos. And when you begin to see yourself through the lens of your own truth, you stop shrinking for comfort. You start expanding for freedom. When the world tells you, you can't, you must respond with presence, not defense. Because you do not owe explanations to those who do not understand your evolution. Your existence is not a courtroom. It is a canvas. You are not here to argue your worth. You are here to express it with everything you do, everything you choose, and everything you survive. There will be days when even you forget who you are. On those days, sit with your silence. Reintroduce yourself to your own voice. Write letters to the future version of you who's already living the life you're scared to dream of. Remind yourself that power doesn't come from being accepted. It comes from being unapologetically real. And once you start defining yourself with love, with depth, with clarity, you become unshakable. Because the world may try to label you, but those labels cannot hold a soul that has already crowned itself from within. Rule 2. Discipline is greater than motivation. Motivation is seductive. It feels like fire bright, blazing, and thrilling. But fire without structure will burn you out. Motivation is the spark. Discipline is the fuel. If you depend on motivation alone, you'll glow one moment and go cold the next. But if you build discipline into your foundation, you'll burn with a quiet power that nothing can extinguish. You see, success doesn't visit those who wait for perfect moods. It arrives for those who show up, even when their hearts feel heavy, even when the excitement is gone. The strongest people aren't the most inspired. They're the most committed. They don't wait for the perfect energy. They create it through habits, through rituals, through consistency that becomes identity. Discipline is not punishment. It is protection. It protects your dreams from dying in comfort. It protects your purpose from getting lost in procrastination. And most importantly, it protects Your integrity, the silent promise you make to yourself when no one else is watching. Discipline says, even if I don't feel it today, I will still honor it. It is in discipline that you begin to discover who you really are. Not who you are when you're celebrated, but who you are in the quiet hours when you rise before the sun, when you push through the repetition, when you refuse to give up on your goals, even when they take longer than expected. Those moments become your armor. No great life was ever built on convenience. It was built on courage. And courage often looks like discipline. It looks like showing up again and again. It looks like choosing the hard road, the lonely road, the silent road, because that's the road that leads to mastery. And mastery is the language of success. Some days you won't feel ready. Some days you'll feel lost. But the beauty of discipline is that it doesn't need your feelings. It only needs your follow through. So train yourself not just to work hard, but to show up hard. Not just to dream, but to do. That is the real art of becoming. And when you master discipline, success no longer becomes a matter of luck. It becomes a matter of time. Rule 3, embrace rejection as redirection. Rejection pierces. It hits like a silent slap in the face. It tells you, you're not enough, even when you gave it everything. But rejection is not the end. It's a redirection, a whisper from life, saying, not here, not now. Something better awaits. The pain of rejection is real, but so is the purpose behind it. When a door slams in your face, you feel small, you feel forgotten. You feel foolish for ever believing in something so deeply. But what you don't see in that moment is the divine detour being designed behind the scenes. Sometimes life has to break your plan to protect your purpose. Sometimes what feels like failure is actually the first step towards something far greater. We fear rejection because we take it personally. We think it's a reflection of our worth. But what if rejection is actually a reflection of our growth? What if it's life saying, you've outgrown this space. It no longer fits your becoming. Not every no is a punishment. Some are sacred instructions to reroute your energy. Your value does not decrease because someone failed to recognize it. In fact, rejection forces you to validate yourself. It teaches you to become your own reference point. It strengthens the muscles of resilience that comfort never could. Every time you get rejected, a new layer of you is revealed, wiser, bolder, more unbreakable. Rejection also teaches humility. It brings you back to the ground so you can rise again, not with arrogance, but with awareness. It reminds you that you are not in control of everything, but you are in control of how you rise. And sometimes, the most beautiful rises come from the most brutal rejections. There is a sacred kind of clarity that comes from being denied. It strips away what you thought you needed and reveals what truly matters. And the deeper you lean into that redirection, the more you realize every no was really making space for a more powerful yes that only time could deliver. So the next time you hear rejection's voice, listen closely. It may not be telling you to stop. It may just be guiding you to a road that was carved specifically for your kind of light. Rule 4. Choose purpose over popularity. There will always be a choice standing at the crossroads of your life, one path lined with applause, glitter, and quick approval, and the other, dimly lit, but deeply rooted in meaning. Popularity is tempting. It seduces you with likes, with claps, with validation. But purpose humbles you. It requires sacrifice, self-inquiry, and often silence. And yet, it is the only path that fills the soul. You were not born to be liked by everyone. You were born to be true to someone yourself. But the world will try to convince you that attention is everything. That being seen means being successful. That the crowd's opinion is more important than your calling. And in the noise of those voices, your inner truth can begin to whisper so faintly you forget how it once roared. Popularity may give you an audience, but purpose gives you a legacy. The applause fades. The trends change. The spotlight shifts. But when you live for a reason larger than yourself, you become timeless. You start living not to impress, but to impact. Not to chase followers, but to lead a life worth following. And that is the difference between fame and fulfillment. It takes immense courage to say no to what looks good on the outside in order to protect what feels right on the inside. But the deeper your purpose, the stronger your spine becomes. You begin to resist things that distract, delay, and diminish your spirit. You begin to filter your decisions through alignment rather than applause. Living on purpose often means walking alone. It means being misunderstood, criticized, or overlooked, but it also means walking in peace. Because nothing compares to the serenity of knowing that your actions are rooted in truth, that you didn't bend just to belong, that you didn't perform just to be seen, that you stayed loyal to your essence even when it wasn't easy. Every time you choose purpose over popularity, you reclaim your authenticity, you give yourself permission to be whole instead of hollow. You shift from performing to living, from reacting to creating, from surviving to awakening. And that awakening spreads not in noise, but in energy. So don't be afraid to walk away from the crowd if it means walking toward your calling. Because the ones who follow purpose carve paths where none existed before, and in doing so, they lead not with noise, but with light. Rule 5. Keep going when it makes no sense. There will come a point on your journey where everything feels uncertain. The road ahead will blur. The results won't show. The reasons you started will feel distant. You'll question yourself. You'll question your path. And the question that screams the loudest is often, what's the point? But here's where the real transformation begins when you keep going anyway. Success is not born in the moments when everything adds up. It's born in the moments when nothing does, yet you move forward with faith. You see, it's easy to keep going when progress is visible. But the true test comes when you're sowing seeds and nothing blooms. When you're giving your all and hearing silence in return. When your energy feels unnoticed, unrewarded, unseen. This is the moment many quit, not because they don't have the potential, but because they expected a harvest before its season. Life doesn't work on demand. It unfolds in divine timing. And sometimes your breakthrough is not late. It's simply preparing the ground so that when it arrives, you're ready to carry the weight of it without breaking. You are not lost. You are being shaped. And the shaping process is uncomfortable. It strips away illusions. It confronts you with your doubts. It teaches you to rely on your inner compass, not the external validation. In the silence of confusion, something sacred is happening. Your roots are deepening. And only those who dare to root deep can rise high. There's a kind of strength that only shows up when logic walks out. It's the strength that whispers, I don't see the finish line, but I trust it exists. That kind of strength builds endurance, and endurance is the bridge between vision and victory. It turns ordinary people into legends, not because they were the best, but because they refused to stop. Keep writing even when the words feel hollow. Keep building even when no one is watching. Keep dreaming even when the world feels heavy. Because the most important part of your journey is not the success that others see. It's the strength you built in secret, the kind that carries you through the unseen storms and into the light. So even when it makes no sense, keep walking. Because some paths are not meant to make sense, they're meant to make a story. And your story, when fully lived, will be the very light that guides others through their own darkness. In the end, success is not what they told you it is. It is not confined to stages, followers, or fame. It is not owned by the loudest or claimed by the fastest. True success lives in the hearts of those who dare to follow their own rules that require courage, consistency, and a soul that refuses to settle. It begins when you stop waiting for the world to validate you and decide to define yourself. It deepens when you stop relying on fleeting motivation and choose the quiet power of discipline. It grows when you stop seeing rejection as failure and start embracing it as divine redirection. It expands when you stop craving popularity and start walking in purpose. And it transforms when you stop needing logic to move and choose to keep going, even when the road disappears under your feet. These are not just rules. They are reminders of your power, of your resilience, of the fire that still lives beneath your doubt. These are the unseen codes of the unshakable. And those who live by them do not just chase success, they become it. Because in the end, the world may or may not celebrate you, but if you have honored your truth, your discipline, your redirection, your purpose, and your perseverance, you have already won the most sacred kind of success.